Good morning. How the hell are you? Hi. Let me make sure that I'm live. Yes, I am. Share to a page. Hey, Jackie. Good morning. Good morning. I love this topic this morning. I'm so excited about it. Hey, Tara. Hey, Cindy. Okay. I gotta figure out how to silence this chat because it's gonna keep blowing up. Mute conversation. Oh, for 30 minutes, for 1 hour, for 1 hour. Mute. I didn't know you could do that. Good morning. Okay, so this is a hot topic. Tell me it's not, right? When you're a hot mess, but you have bills to pay. Like, when you know that something important and some important shit's coming up, or like, you know, you just have to crush life. You have kids, you have bills, you have a business to run, you have whatever it is, but you're a friggin' hot mess. And you're just not really showing up the way that you want to be showing up. I have so much to say about this, right? And basically, I think intrinsically, there's a part of us that knows and understands that, like, in an orderly universe, you don't ever get something for nothing, basically, right? Like, you receive as you have given. So I think somewhat, like, intrinsically inside, most of us are aware that if we're constantly staying in a negative space, if we have things that are going on in our life that are beating us up, just kind of like beating us up, then you're gonna show up a bit messy, and then that can put you into a squeeze or into a state of wondering if this will ever end. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, will I ever get out of this? Will it ever end? Will I ever stop being messy? Will I ever live to my fullest potential? And especially if you've been working hard, if you've been launching your business or showing up, serving people, got kids, whatever. A lot of times, heart-centered people who really love and care about other people and want to support other people, a lot of people can get trapped inside of the expectations on them, or they get trapped inside of the beliefs that were sort of handed down to them, or they get trapped in just the day-to-day shit that's going on, right? So there's really only one way to shift this, and that is to change your thoughts. Only, I know everybody's heard that, and that can really piss you off, because if you're really in the throes of it and you're just being a complete fucking disaster, but you know, like, oh my God, I really have to show up, right? Especially anyone who owns their own business, entrepreneurs, you have probably put yourself in a place where you're required to show up bigger. So especially the hustlers, like, you'll do things, you'll show up, you'll create things, you'll have things in your life where you really need to show up on your A game. Tell me if you've ever lived in that space, even if you're on the replay later, tell me if you know the space of, like, I have bills to pay, but I'm a fucking hot mess and I don't know how to get myself to show up the way I need to show up. Like, I just need to get myself to show up in a way that will produce the level of income or the next level that I'm wanting to go to. Maybe it's not about just making, like, covering the bills. Maybe it's actually just launching to that next level. Tell me if you know what I'm talking about, right? So basically, you're a living magnet and you're always drawing things to you, and people, you know, you're drawing in things, you're drawing in people, you're drawing in circumstances that are in alignment with the way that you currently see the world. Right? Yes, Christina. Do you know what I'm saying? So the way that you currently think, and we learned this from Einstein, only nobody paid any attention to it until we started doing, like, you know, brain scans and NLP and being able to, like, map out the brain. Then all of a sudden everyone's like, oh, wait, it's actually really true. Right? So if you have current things in your life that you believe are true about you or about the people around you or about the whole world in general, and that is clashing with the values that you hold, then what's going to happen is you're going to turn into a big giant fucking mess, and then you're going to wonder why you can't show up to get the results. But what's really, all that's really happening is you're pushing the results away. You're pushing them away by the way that you're thinking. Okay? Does this make sense to you guys? Right? You are where you are in experience, relationships, money, whatever it is, based on your thoughts. So what I want you guys to understand about that is, when you're thinking the way that you're thinking that gets you the results that you have now, you can't magically just think that tomorrow when I fucking wake up, I'm gonna act differently. You're not gonna act, just hear me for a second, please hear me. You're not magically gonna wake up tomorrow and act like, look it back, just look over the last 10 years. When have you ever magically woke up the next day and consistently shifted into a new level and showed up differently? And if there's the rare moments where you actually did do that, it's because something inside of your belief system shifted the way that you're thinking or choosing to see it, right? So the group that I have coming up, the Woman on Fire group, like literally that whole group was even built because I had so many intrinsic beliefs that were kicking my ass, and they would put me into the squeeze over and over and over, where it was like everything I tried to go do, it just felt hard, and it felt like I was pushing something up a hill, and it felt like no matter how many times I put out a fire, there was another one to put out, or like no matter how many times I loved and gave to people, no matter how many times I re-explained something or said something, or if I just help them one more time, then everything will be fine, and then I can finally go do me, I can finally go do my business. If I just explain this one more time, if I just ask for this one more time, like just one more time, just push one more time, just get through one more month, just, pay off all their things one more time, and just recoup and regenerate that one more time. And it was always like this sense of like, just get through this fire, just get through this problem, just help this one person. If I can just get this person and this person all set and they're taken care of, then I can finally build my business. Then I can finally do the things for me that make me thrive. Then I can finally pull in support to help shift my mindset. Then I can, right? And it was always like this constant thing that I could never have. And then finally one day, I finally just realized like, okay, it's actually not ever gonna go away, right? Only constant in life is change, for sure. But I'm talking about something way more than that, right? Exactly. I love the way you put that. It's exactly how I am. I'm a hot mess. Yes. So it is easy to reject the idea or the concept that you're actually responsible for how you handle and manage the squeeze or the stress or the pressure. And if you can learn the skill set of being able to shift your internal beliefs around what it means when this stuff is going on, it's going to feel a lot better. But the only thing you need to understand for this concept is basically, okay, when shit is hitting the fan, when shit's a mess, the only thing that's happening is the way that you're choosing to interpret what's going on or to view it or to look at it or what your focus is on is the thing kicking your ass. It has nothing to do with the circumstance. You can be in a circumstance and I can be standing right next to you and we can both be in the same circumstance and you can be totally fine and you're handling it and you're still in a good mood and you're still showing up consistent, and I can be a total fucking disaster or shit show and, be completely freaking out. I see this all the time. When I was on calls with people, there's like people that were incredibly wealthy and they would still be freaking out about money, and people that were poor and had very little and they would be calm and they'd be happy and they know that things are going to get better, right? Like it has nothing to do with your circumstances and everything to do with the way you're choosing to see things. Now, the fastest way to be able to start to shift that is by recognizing the emotion. So like what I've been hearing consistently lately is guilt. Like so many people feel so much guilt for so many, like I feel guilty that I'm not a good enough mom. I feel guilty that I'm not making enough money in my business. I feel guilty that I'm charging high prices. I feel guilty that I'm charging low prices. I feel guilty that I'm not sweeter to my husband. I feel guilty that I'm in a bad mood. I feel guilty when I take time for myself. I feel guilty that I'm not eating good enough. I feel guilty that I'm not working out hard enough. I feel guilty that I look good. I feel guilty that I'm not taking good enough care about myself. I feel guilty that my house isn't clean enough. I feel guilty that I'm not living up to my mother-in-law's expectations. I feel guilty about that time I freaked out or was dramatic. I feel guilty that I want this expensive thing. It's like this endless loop of guilt that people are stuck in. Now you understand that you wouldn't feel guilty about something if there wasn't a part of it that felt off. So when you have that feeling inside of guilt, okay, listen to me. When you feel guilty, all that happened is your soul is like, hey, we don't believe this shit. Something's off here. Like you're choosing to pull in and believe something and hold something inside of you that doesn't belong here. Does that make sense? Like this shit doesn't fucking belong here. Something's off base. And so what we do is we beat ourselves up. And then I feel guilty for feeling guilty. I feel guilty that I'm a squirrely mess. I feel guilty that I'm being a disaster right now. I feel guilty that I need so much right now. Right? So then we start beating ourselves up, which is the exact opposite of the thing that's going to get us on the other side. Do you hear me? Okay. So today I wrote a blog, right? And I'm just going to go into the 4 pieces of it because it's a really big deal, right? So, oh yeah. And also Women on Fire, the early bird special ends today. So what we're doing is literally going in and rewriting these guilty beliefs, these suppressive beliefs that keep you from feeling like you're allowed to thrive and be happy and have an epic fucking life and make tons of money and look as beautiful as you want to be and really truly just be yourself in this world and know that you're gonna be taken care of. So that's mandyperry.com if you're interested in that, right? Okay, number one, this isn't gonna last forever. It's not gonna last forever. I swear, I have felt it a million times. And you know how I can prove this to you? How many times have you gotten sick and you were laying in bed and you were like, see, I really am a lazy piece of shit. See, I really am gonna be like my mom or like my dad. All right, I got 10 minutes, I gotta run my training for my Diamond Mastermind, right? Like I knew it. I knew I was lazy. I knew that if I like just left to my own devices, this is what I'll do. I'll just sit here and watch TV and just like lay around and just not do anything. Right? Like how ridiculous is that? So it's not any different. You might have felt that when you were sick, but it's not any different than when you're just being messy or when you're in emotional turmoil, when you're like really getting beat up emotionally because of the ways that you've chosen to think or because the instilled beliefs that were in there, right? So number one, it's not gonna last forever. You're going to break out of the messiness. You're going to crush life. Of course you're going to do this. You were always gonna do it, right? It will pass, and it'll pass the fastest the sooner you're able to hear what I'm saying to you right now and just accept that, like, my soul is trying to bring me to a place of thriving, of giving my gift to the world, of being everything that I feel called to be and having all the things I long for. My soul is calling me to that, but the way I'm choosing to believe or view life or what's available for me is clashing with it, and so I feel that internal struggle. I feel that cognitive dissonance on the inside, right? So the fastest way to get out of it is to actually surrender, and be like, what in me is trying to heal? Why am I choosing to believe that this is hard? Why am I choosing for this to be painful or hard? What is the belief that gets to be up-leveled and upgraded right now? Now, sure, when we do the groups like the Women on Fire group or, you know, the other stuff where we do mindset, that's the fastest way to get through because we're boldly calling the thing a thing and then rewiring and reworking it, right? So like that's the fastest way to get there. However, just having that consistent habit of being able to be aware of like the emotion isn't a problem. Nothing's wrong. There's nothing wrong or off because you're being a fucking disaster right now. All that happened is like, oh, this is an opportunity for me to recognize that something I'm choosing to call into my belief system is clashing with my soul. It's clashing with the wisest part of me. And it's causing this kind of pain. Do you see what I'm saying? Like it's causing that frustration, that pain, that fear, the hesitation, the not being willing to step into my power or choose my voice or raise my prices or do the thing that lights me up. You know, my husband's over in Italy right now, and definitely one of the things, like I said to him, like, babe, one thing I'm asking for you is like, while you have this 3 weeks and you're over there with all this time to yourself, all I want you to do is write down like, what does my life, my like absolute most dream life look like if I wasn't worried about anybody else, if it didn't matter about my daughters, my son, my wife, like nothing mattered. It was just about me and my dream life and what I wanted it to be, because most people never even take that step. And we do this work and we still have to at every level do that work, right? So that is a really big deal, right? Getting clear what that is. My computer just shut off. Okay, so number one, surrendering to what is trying to be healed and learned. What parts are you choosing to believe? And I know it can be overwhelming when you start to do it at first. And of course, like there's support if you want support, but at least being aware that this is the goal is a big deal, right? Hey, Joseph. Okay, number two, know that you are messy, and while you're messy and healing, right? As you're being a disaster, that God is working for you. He's working for you. Like, I'm here, I'm a disaster. That's okay, because God's not a disaster and he's not messy, and he's actually working for me, for my good, actively looking to call out the parts of me to get me to where I want to go. It's why like we'll get afraid to step into our purpose, and then we turn back, because resistance, the most amount of resistance is going to come at you right before you're about to step into something new and up level and break through that ceiling. Every single time, right before you're about to do that, the resistance is the absolute heaviest. So if you're unaware, if you're like new at this, if you're unaware, what will happen is you'll think you did something wrong. God closed a door. I'm off track. Maybe I'm not supposed to be doing this. Maybe I'm not meant to do this. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I married the wrong person. Maybe I don't want to be a mom someday. Maybe whatever the thing is, right? Like, because you didn't know that like, oh, I've done enough work to get right at that precipice where everything is fucking coming at me, right? Like I pull people close to me in my life that will remind me like, hey Mandy, this is what it always feels like it looks like right before all the epic shit happens. And people constantly quit right before the finish line. 15 goddamn seconds right before they have all the breakthrough. They quit and they fall off. And little did they know what was right on the other side of that. I consistently watch people quit. Most people quit. Most people quit. You're fucking not going to. You hear me? There is no quitting. We do this until you get clear what your fucking dream life is, and we do the work until. Stuff like the beliefs and the guilt trippy stuff and the shit that got stuck in us, like we're working through in the Woman on Fire group, is what I'm talking about. It's like, are you willing to stop telling a story that I'm gonna wait for proof that I can do this before I'm willing to invest or do the work? Like, no, stop, knock it off. We're doing the fucking work because we've decided that it's going to happen and that we will do whatever it takes to get there. So maybe I put it on a credit card. That's been coming up a lot with people, like, oh, I'm nervous to put it on a credit card. I'm nervous to make that investment. How do I know it's gonna work? Then you're not ready. If you're like, how do I know it's gonna work? Then all that means is you're planning for failure. There's room for you for, no. It's motherfucking working because I said so, and what do I do to back that up? I decide that it's working, and then I look at like, okay, the woman who knows that this is gonna work, the man who knows this is gonna work, what would they do, right? And that's the action we take. Okay, so knowing, of course, that he's working as you wait, as your disaster, right? You have all of heaven working actively and powerfully on your behalf, always. You cannot lose this. You cannot fuck this up. You cannot unearn this. The only thing that happens is you forget. You just forgot. I forgot. I chose to think beliefs that weren't in alignment with my soul. I choose to scare the shit out of myself, which is basically what I watch people do. You hear what I'm saying? That's what they do. They scare the shit out of themselves. All right. So, yeah, basically just remembering that God doesn't relent. He doesn't give up on you. He always makes good on his promises, and there's nothing more true in all the universe. So knowing, okay, there is a purpose and a destiny for me. I am called to something. There is a legacy for me to leave. And either I'm choosing to focus on that and getting there and growing through that, and I'm pulling in resources and people and things and beliefs and thoughts, consistent thoughts and habits that are in alignment with that, or I'm not. And when I'm not, it feels like shit. And that's all that happened. So like, oh, that felt like shit. Warning, warning. How do I get back on track? Oh, get back on track. Do you see what I'm saying? And during all of that, it's like God is just constantly clearing the path in front of you for you to be able to continue to choose to stay on that and to do the work and to go through the challenges. And guess what? Life without it is so goddamn boring. Like if you're not doing that, I heard this quote one time and it changed my life. And it was basically like, if you can see the path in front of you, like if I can see the whole path, it's not your path. Because your path means that you're going to be called to go beyond what you can already see and understand. You're going to be called to that. Consistently, you're going to be called to goals and to ways of believing and to ways of showing up and ways of being that are beyond your current comprehension. Otherwise, you wouldn't grow. So if your plan in life is to do something that doesn't require you to grow, that's a shitty ass plan. I'm just gonna say the thing. It's a shitty plan. We need to up level that damn plan. So it means that what it's gonna feel like if you're on your path, like if you're on your soul's path, what I'm born, what I'm here on earth to do, when I'm gonna be 95 and I look back, I'm gonna be like, hell yes, I fucking did it. That was an epic life. If you're on that path, it should feel like, how the hell am I gonna do that? Doesn't matter, because you know why you're doing it, and it will drive and pull you because you're in purpose, and you figure out how as you go. All you know is the one step in front of you to do. For example, if you're getting your ass kicked around guilt and you're feeling guilty about all these things, and you feel like, how do I become the woman who's okay with being wealthy? How do I become the woman who's okay with taking this time for myself so I can be in a state of overflow? How do I become the person who feels confident to create massive transformation and value in the world? How do I know that I'm like actively my purpose? All these kind of things. My phone said mute. The work right there, like that's the stuff we're doing in the Woman on Fire group, right? And so like it's basically you understanding, like, stop going and watching this is the newest thing I've been saying, stop going watching some fucking free webinar on how to get 10,000 people on your Instagram feed, when really what's happening is you're getting your ass kicked because you feel guilty being successful or being well taken care of or being beautiful. Like these are not things that are okay. Those things are going to consistently kick your ass. So how is getting 10K people on Instagram going to serve you? It doesn't serve you at all. So you got to start being really honest about like, what is the shit that's kicking my ass right now? That's why I created this group, because I'm seeing everybody. It's just guilt is like everywhere, and a sense of unworthiness and a lack of confidence and self-esteem. It's a really big deal, right? Okay. Number 3, you are strong. strong. Stop forgetting who you are. Look at your life. Look at the shit you've been through. Look at the shit that you've outgrown. Look at the people that you've outgrown. Look at how far you've come. Don't forget who you are and how strong you are. Oftentimes we can be like, oh my God, this is so hard. I have to come up with 20K a month now to pay for my business and my team. Like, oh, how do I do this? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, stop it. Fucking stop it. Knock it off. You and I both know that's complete bullshit. Look at the shit that you've been through. This is easy. Making money is easy. Working through some patterns about how you're not allowed to feel beautiful or be really epic or like rise above everybody around you and just go for the gold and be the number one and go to that top percent, that's easy. And you get to stop playing the game that it's not easy, right? So really just remembering how strong you actually are and that you were born to fly and you were always going to make it. And this is what the work looked like. Having something new feels like something new. This is what it looks like. If you thought that it was going to be linear and unmessy, then you were naive, and that's okay. Now you're learning. Now you're learning. Those of us ahead of you, and even the people ahead of me that I get to know and learn, like, it's fucking messy. That's what it is. And there's a lot of stuff to work through, but that is the journey. That is what gets you, like, stop trying to race through it and like push that stuff aside and being annoyed that I have to work through it. That is the whole point. That's the shit that will bring you wealth. Do you understand? And happiness and joy and purpose and legacy and really transforming lives. Yes. Okay. Number 4, now you remember, you get to exhale, right? Like really, you know, that exhale, like, oh, I forgot. I was thinking it was all on my own shoulders, right? You were never alone. It was never all on you. Never. That was a prideful illusion that somehow you're some master, powerful person in the universe and it's all on you, all by your little lonesome self and your little soul, right? It's so ridiculous. It has never been all you and it never will be all you. He will carry you when you are weak. He will do the work while you're healing, right? You deserve all the time and space that you need. I remember the first time I reached, I was like, I just said it to myself one day and it felt so true, right? You deserve all the time and space that you need in the moment to heal and grow. Meaning like for you to live your true purpose and leave your legacy in this world, what's required is for you to be able to work through the stuff that comes up, the guilt trips, the false beliefs, the ways you scare the shit out of yourself, all the stuff and the old beliefs that people stuck on you that were playing small, that weren't thriving, dogma, suppression, all those kind of things, right? And like for you to be able to work through those and really rethink those and come to a new level of thinking, the kind of thinking that's required for you to become the woman it took to create that 7-figure business or whatever it is, right? Like if we know down like a wall, yeah, of course, it's predictable that I'll have to work through those beliefs and those things. But yet when the moment comes, we reject it and we try to ignore it and suppress it and try to bypass it. But why? Like, you know that that's the work that's going to get you there. It's required for you to think a different way. If I could magically just have run a $10 billion business for the last 3 years, I would think like a $10 billion business person, and within a year I would be running billion-dollar businesses because I already think that way. It wasn't because I learned some kind of how, it was just the way I learned to think about what's available to me and what is okay and what's good, etc. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like that saying that if we took all the money in the world and we took all the wealthy money and we gave it to the poor and we made it all even to the whole world, within a year the wealthy would be wealthy again and the poor would be poor again. You see what I'm saying? Because this is the stuff, this is the work right here. And you were always meant to go through this work, so you don't have to race through it. So when you're a fucking disaster, you get to trust like, okay, if I do the work to feel better internally for a little, just a little while, what's required is for you to feel better and for you to breathe in the ease and learn the new way of thinking, and the money will follow. Do the emotional work, the physical will follow every fucking time. All of the universe proves this. This is like universal law. It's everywhere in the universe. This is the way it is, period, end of story. So even if you were to bypass the mindset work, bypass the way that you think and the guilt trip and all that kind of stuff and just keep pushing and pushing yourself, you will get some results and you will feel like shit and you'll be anxious and overwhelmed and burnt out and you'll think about quitting and all these kind of things will happen. So it's really up to you. There's no right or wrong. You get to choose what you want to do. But hopefully this brings some level of insight into what's actually happening and how, right? How can I feel better when I'm freaking out because I have bills to pay, but I'm showing up as a fucking disaster? I'm drinking every night, or I'm watching Netflix too much, or I'm numbing out, or I'm skipping all the things that make me healthy, or I'm getting depressed, or I'm like getting in arguments all the time with people. These are all patterns and things that we do to be able to numb out so that we're not doing the kind of work we're talking about right now. And the only other thing I'm gonna leave you with is, everyone thinks if I let myself feel this, then it'll kill me. because I might figure out that I want to leave my husband. I might figure out that I never wanted to be a mom. I might figure out that I actually wasn't any good at this. I might figure out that I want something that makes me feel like a bad person. And they think like, but if I dig into this stuff, it's going to kill me, right? It's never, ever going to kill you. But you know what does? Honestly, like no bullshit. Do you know what really does kill you? Ignoring all of that stuff and letting it sit inside and just like sit like rocks and lead and hold you back and keep you playing small actually physically, literally will kill you. So you can do the work, or you can let it just keep getting worse and worse and worse, because that's what's happened, right? And so we have all this technology and all this shit that keeps us numbed out and keeps us busy and content. But if you're feeling like shit and you're wondering why you can't live to your fullest potential, this should give you massive levels of insight. If you missed the beginning, I suggest going back and watching this. And if you're ready to do the fucking work to break through all the guilt trips and the stories and stuff that keeps us in that space of like, but something's bad's gonna happen and like I feel guilty all the time, and you're ready to literally live to your fullest potential and rewire those things and break through those specific things around feeling guilt and feeling like you're not allowed to be wealthy, you're not allowed to be beautiful, you're not allowed to be successful, you're not allowed to be in great shape, you're not allowed to have a thriving business, you're not allowed to have your name be famous, you're not allowed to speak your truth and be yourself, you're not allowed to swear or be loud, or you're not allowed to be meek and timid and you know, sweet, or whatever the things are, right? You get to, hey Helen, you get to rewire those things and rework. Those are specifically the things that we're working through in this group. And the transformation on the other side is just epic. I mean, if you just take the time to pause and do this work, you 10x shit right on the other side of it. And this is how I built a $500,000 business in 2 years. Literally, this is the stuff that I do. It has nothing to do with how. A girlfriend of mine and I were just talking about like, oh, if you've managed to make $150,000 months by not doing any how and tech stuff, then you can do 300K months. Because it really is just being willing to do this stuff. And then what we talked about, remember, it's not your past. So then you take the one step in front of you for you to take, for you to live your purpose and create your dream life and actually design the life that you love. Make sense? Okay, cool. So early bird ends tonight for Women on Fire. Go check out the page, see if it's something that resonates with you, mandyperry.com. It has details and the pricing and everything on there, okay? All right, I gotta go teach my Diamond Mastermind girls. Okay, love you.